Hi there everyone, I'm Egfer, and in my last video I used a command block to showcase some of my builds and tour around them like I'm doing now. And I want to show you how I did that, and also dancing pandas on ice. Well, why not? So yeah, we're going to look at how to create a command to tour around. I'll show you a few different ways you can use those. I'm probably not going to show you how to make with dancing pandas, but I'll give you a few clues and you can do that as an exercise if you're interested.
Okay, so let's dive straight in.
On Bedrock.
So if you're just here for a refresher, you know how this command already works, then I'm not going to make you wade through the whole video to see it. This is the command, and hopefully it's kind of reasonably well explained. You need to change the Minecraft name to be your Minecraft name. You can change a few settings to make you move faster or slower, or to rotate round to the left or to the right. And also you change the coordinates at the end in order to say which block you should be facing when you're rotating. So that's the center point of the circle which you're rotating around. Okay, so if you want to know more about why this works or how you can use it in different ways, then that's what I'll be showing next. But if you just want to see very quickly how to do it, then you can use this command. Okay, let's do a little bit of a refresher on controlling command blocks. And the first thing about command block is they can be on or off in your game, and you can turn them off using a game rule. That is game rule command blocks enabled true. That will turn on command blocks, so then they'll be operational in your world. If you use game rule command blocks false, that turns them off. And that can be quite useful. If you made a mistake in your command and it's doing something really bad that you didn't want it to do, summoning a million zombies, then you can turn off command blocks, all command blocks, using game rule command blocks enabled false. And actually, you can also do that from within the game settings. So even if you kind of need to log out to stop something happening, then you go to the settings, scroll down to the bottom, and you've got that command blocks enabled setting, which you can turn off as well. Okay, the other thing to look at is about the output of a command block. So typically when you run a command, it'll give you an output and it looks like this. And sometimes that's really, really helpful because it'll help you to debug your command and see what's going on. It gives you error messages. Sometimes it's just a bit annoying because it's filling up the screen with lots of stuff and it tends to make things a little bit more laggy on the client side as well. So things might be a bit jerky. And we can turn it on or off. So you can turn it on with the game rule again. Game rule command block output true. Note there's no S after command blocks. It's command block output true. That turns it on. And of course game rule command block output false to turn it off. That's not the whole story though, because if you're performing a command on yourself as a player, then that also gives an output. And you can turn that off using game rule send command feedback. So turn it on, then command feedback true, and you can turn it off by using, of course, false at the end. And actually both of those, the command block output and the command feedback, both get turned off automatically when the HUD is hidden. So if you press F1 to hide your HUD, then you won't see these happen at all. The next thing we're going to look at is about position and direction and how we use those in commands. And this is really important because, of course, what we're trying to do is we're trying to move the player around a build. And so we need to be able to understand how position and direction is used in the command in order to make that happen. And we're going to look at three different types of coordinates, right? So we've got specific coordinates, relative coordinates, and directional coordinates. And the specific ones, hopefully anyone who's done any commands at all will be pretty familiar with, but it's essentially X, Y, Z. It's the exact position, the coordinates in the world that you want to refer to. So -100, -8, 1356 refers to that specific coordinate in the world. Okay, so hopefully that's fairly straightforward. Relative coordinates are a little bit more complicated, but still not too bad. And they use the tilde symbol. That wavy line is called a tilde. And these refer to a direction from where the command is run. So typically if you're running a command, you're running it as yourself. This means a direction from you, the player. And tilde 3 means 3 blocks in the positive X direction. Tilde 10 means 10 blocks upwards in the y direction. And tilde minus 6 means 6 blocks in a negative z direction. Okay, and hopefully you'll spot the difference between the two lines of commands, of coordinates, because with the tilde we can mix and match, and I can have a mix between relative coordinates and specific coordinates. So here, because there's no tilde in front of a 10 on the second line, that means exactly y equals 10. So the tilde 3 and the tilde minus 6 are still relative to me, but the 10 is exactly y10. And then we go to directional coordinates, and these are the ones which are probably the most confusing. They certainly were to me, and they use the caret symbol. So that little hat is called a caret. These are about the direction from the way your head is facing. So I've got another slide which we'll look at, 'cause I think it makes it a bit clearer. And the first caret of a 3 is about the direction in which maybe your ears are facing. Okay, so the positive direction is left from your head, and the negative is right from your head. The second caret is about the top and bottom of your head. So the positive direction is typically upwards if you're looking straight ahead, and negative is down towards the ground. But actually, if you're looking downwards or you're looking upwards, then that changes. It's still positive is the direction the top of your head is facing, and negative is the way the bottom of your head is facing. And then finally, the third caret is around, think about it, the way your eyes are looking. Okay, so this one's fairly straightforward. Positive is the way you're actually looking, and negative is the opposite direction. And again, if you're looking down, then positive would be downwards because you're looking down. If you're looking up, positive would be looking upwards, and negative is the opposite, of course. Okay, so back in Minecraft, and I've marked out a block here, and then 10 blocks further along in the positive x direction, I've got another block here. And we're going to test out our 3 different coordinate systems. So the first one was about specific coordinates. You can see I'm on 4, 4, 2, 8, 3 at the moment. So I want to go 10 blocks on the positive x direction. I'm going to be at 14, 4, 2, 8, 3. Let's give that a go. So /tp egfur 14, 4, 2, 8, 3. And I hit enter and I end up on that block. Perfect. And of course, if I run that again, it doesn't do anything different to me. I can run it from wherever I want in the world, and I end up on that same block. Okay, that's specific coordinates. Now, what about if I want to use relative coordinates? So that was a positive x direction. So I can run a very similar looking command, except this time I'm going to use tilde and have 10. And I don't want to change my y or my z axis at all, so I'm just going to use tilde tilde, which basically means keep it the same as it is now. So we're going to move 10 in the x direction, and everything else stays the same. So hopefully I still end up on this block here. And if I want to go back, I can run the same command, but with -10, just there. And of course, if I want to go up, you get the idea. I can go up by 10 by doing tp egfur tilde tilde 10 tilde, and that takes you up in the air. All right, still straightforward. Okay, let's look at caret notation. So remember what I said with carets is that the first caret is about left and right, and it's all about where my head is facing. Okay, so if I'm facing over there, then to get to that block, I'm going to go left. So I could do tp egfur caret 10 caret caret, and that should take me 10 to the left, which hopefully would be more or less on this block. Perfect. But of course, what if I'm facing this way? Well, that exact same command is going to take me to the left still, so I'm going to end up over here. So how do I get to that block from here? Okay, well, that's straightforward, I think. We do tp egfur caret 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 10, because our last block is about which way our face is pointing. And hopefully we end up on this block again. Perfect. Now, here's a little trick. Do you remember the middle one? I said it's about which way the top of your head is facing. So if I was to do, if I stand here and do TP egg for caret 10, so the middle one is plus 10, caret, and then hit enter, which way am I going to go? Well, it's the way the top of my head is facing, that's pointing upwards, so I'm going to go up, of course. What about though if I'm staring at the ground? Which way is my head facing now? Well, actually it's facing over there, isn't it? So if I stare at the ground and run exactly the same command, TP egg for caret 10 caret, so the middle one is plus 10, which is about which way my head's pointing. Hit enter. That also takes me to here, because my head was pointing towards that square. Okay, so hopefully that kind of brings it to life a little bit, makes it a bit clearer what we're talking about with the caret notation. Okay, so now we've got most of the tools that we need to do what we want and to circle around to build. But there's a couple of little things that we need to sort out first. So the first one is that, let's say that I want to move around a particular XYZ coordinates, which is typically what I'm going to try and do. And I'm standing somewhere facing towards that. Now I can run the command TP egg for caret 1 caret, and that will move me one block to my left, which is great. It looked like that. And the problem is if I keep running that command on a loop, I'll just keep going left in the same direction, and that'll move me away from my build, which is not what I want. But fortunately, there's an additional thing in the TP command, which is the facing option. So I can say that I want to face a particular point. And if I face that XYZ coordinate when I move, then what's going to happen is it'll rotate me. So I'm facing that. And I can keep doing that and keep going round and round. And what you'll see is that we end up with a circle going around the XYZ coordinate, which is just what we want. So are we finished? One more thing. What if there's a block in the way? So what if we're going round and round and we hit another block? Well, there's two options here. And again, it's another option within the TP command. So if I want to go around and stop when I hit a block, then I could just add the word true. So true is about whether the game detects block collisions as it's moving you and then stops moving you. And if I want to be able to just pass through that block, keep going, then of course I use false at the end. In Minecraft again, and you might be thinking, well, we've got everything we need now. I've got my command, I can TP myself one block to the left, I can face the specific block, and that's the coordinates of the command block. Put false in there so it keeps rotating me round even if something gets in the way, and we're good to go. So let's see what happens when I press the button to activate the command block. And I ended up here. I was supposed to end up here. I ended up here. And the reason I ended up here is because it's not me running the command. It's the command block running the command. So when it TPs me, it does it relative to the command block and not relative to myself. And therefore I end up next to the command block. The good news is that the command system in Minecraft is actually really powerful, and the execute command comes to our rescue. And the execute command is all about running a command as another person or another location. And so it looks a bit like this. Execute egg for tilde tilde tilde. It means execute the command as if it was me running it at my location, and then the command that we want to run. And we already know what that command is. So our full command will look like this. And that first bit is running the command as me at my location. The next bit is teleporting myself one block to the left. And then as I teleport, I turn to face a specific XYZ coordinate, which will be the center of my build. And the false at the end allows me to pass through blocks as I'm rotating round rather than getting blocked by them. And that's it. So let's go put it into practice. Our pandas are still happily dancing away. And what I've done is I've worked out what sort of the center block in my build is, which is -65259. And I've set up a command block with that command we saw earlier. I'm going to press the plus button because it's a longer command. So execute eggfur at my location, TP eggfur, and I'm using minus 0.2. So because I'm using minus, that'll send me to the right, and it'll send me 0.2 of a block each time. And that's better than jumping one block at a time, because it just gives you a very much smoother movement. And I'm facing the center of my build. Okay, and I've also set this command block to be a repeating command block. So with repeat, it's unconditional, and it needs redstone because I won't be able to switch it on and off. And I've also set the delay to 0 ticks, and I'll just show you what happens if we change that in a minute. Okay, so if I turn that on, you'll see that I start rotating around, and I press F1 to hide the HUD. And I can still move up and down as I'm going, and I can still move forwards and backwards actually as well. And I'll just rotate around the build. And if I don't press anything, it'll just keep me going like this, round and round. Okay, so I mentioned there's a couple of things we can change in here, and one of them is that you can set this to always active, but I prefer to be able to switch it on and off. And I can change the delay in ticks. And if I change that delay, it can make it slower. So if I set this to 3 ticks, it'll run the command every 3 ticks. And so now when I turn it on, you'll see that I'm going a lot more slowly. I hit F1, and it's a little bit jerky, to be honest, right? So it's not ideal. Let's turn command blocks off again and come back around here. And maybe a better way to do it would be to leave this on 0, but change this command. And if I change this minus 0.2 to minus 0.1, that will make me go around half as fast. Let's turn command blocks on again. And now I'm going just 0.1 of a block each time that it runs. And you can see it's still quite smooth, but a bit slower. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to make dancing pandas on ice. But just to give you a hint, these two pandas are rotating around each other. And there are ways in the command to be able to specify specific named entities. So these are guys called Torville and Dean. And if you're very old, you might know who they are. And if not, don't worry about it. Or you can look them up on Google. But Torville and Dean here are dancing pandas, and they're dancing around each other just by circling round and round. And I've got a circuit here which does two things. It whenever this hopper clock switches, it changes the direction in which they move, and it also triggers these command blocks, which causes Torville to leap up a couple of blocks in the air, and then a little while later come back down. And obviously Torville is a playful panda, which means that she likes to do rolls, which works out really well for acrobatic dancing. Okay, well that's it for today. I hope you found that interesting, and if you did, do check out the other videos on the channel, and remember to click the like and subscribe buttons as well. That would be absolutely fantastic, and I hope to see you next time. All right, bye bye now.